Okay, so real quick before we actually start the assignment, just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. If I was to give you something such as this, first off, that's a parabola, okay? And the way we know it's a parabola is because our x is squared. I mean, if I FOIL this out, we'd have x squared. And our y is not. When one variable is squared and the other one is not, it's a parabola, okay? If they're both squared, it's either a circle or an ellipse. But since x is squared and y is not, that would be a parabola, okay? And this goes back to, geez, the first week of school when you were in Algebra 2 a year ago. You should be able to tell me the vertex of this thing. Okay, the vertex is 3, 4. You guys remember how we get that in 2 words? Opposite, same, okay? And does this parabola open up or does it open down? Do you guys remember from this? Up, why? There's no negative. There's a negative. Not in front. What does that 5 do to it? Stretches it vertically or thins it out. So if I really wanted to, I could graph this. Write 3, up 4, put a dot. And it looks sort of like that. It's a very quick, I'll give a rough graph, okay? Opposite, same. So it's in vertex form, okay? Now, if I give you something such as this, y equals x squared plus 6x plus 11. That's a parabola, okay? Because x is squared and y is not. Now, what's the vertex? I don't know. It's not in vertex form, okay? So if they're not in vertex form, we're going to put them in vertex form, okay? Now, again, I want to make sure you understand. The vertex was 3, 4 here. What if I make that a 15? What's the vertex?
Still 3, 4.
What if it's negative 15?
Still.
Does the parabola change?
Yeah.
The vertex doesn't, but the parabola does change, okay? Just keep that in mind, okay? So, these are going to start out the first couple of questions really, really simple, as long as you remember what we just talked about there. And it says the vertex is negative 3, 1. They want just a parabola, just any parabola. There's an infinite number of correct answers here, okay? If the vertex is negative 3, 1, okay, an equation would be y equals x what? Plus 3, what? What? Plus 1. Opposite same. Now, is that the only right answer?
No.
If I put a 7 right here, is the vertex still negative 3, 1? Yeah. So what number goes in front of that parenthesis? It could be anything except for one thing. There's one thing you can't put there. You put 1, you can't put 0. Because if you put 0, it's not a parabola anymore. Because it'd be this would all go away, it'd be left with y equals 1, which would be a horizontal line. Okay? So you can put anything you want there, except for 0. So number 3. Vertex is 0, negative 3. So our equation is y equals x, what? Is it x plus 0 or x minus 0?
Just x.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just x squared and what?
Minus 3.
Minus 3. 5. So these start out pretty easy, I think. Now when you get to number 5, they get a little tougher, okay? It says f of x or y, doesn't matter if you want to just put y, that's okay. Negative x squared minus 4x minus 8, okay? If I asked you what the vertex is, your response right now should be, I don't know. I don't know what the vertex is. I do not know, okay? So here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to complete the square, but when you complete the square, now if I give you something like this, x squared plus 6x plus something. You remember how you complete the square? I do 2 things to this 6. First thing I do is I cut it in half, that's 3. And you remember what you do after that? Square it, makes it 9. This is now a square. If I give you x squared minus 10x plus something, what would be in that to make it a square? 25. Half of negative 10 is negative 5. Squared is 25. That is now a square, okay? Now, I want to make sure you guys understand. Watch this real carefully before we start number 5. I wish they didn't start out with one like number 5. This starts right off with a tricky one. If I gave you 4x squared plus 8x plus something, the number that goes right here is not 16. Where did I get 16 from?
Half of.
Half of 8 is 4, square root of 16. The reason why it's not 16, what's different about this one? There's a 4 right there, okay? When you're completing the square, the x squared has to be just 1x squared, just 1. So what I would do is this. I would factor out a 4 times x squared plus 4 times 2x. Okay? So, what number would go right there? Half of 2 is 1, squared is 1. Okay? Now, what you do is, you learned this way back in 5th or 6th grade. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Nothing wrong with that. We've done that a million times in the past. Something else you could do is, whatever I do to one side, I do the opposite to the same side, okay? So what I'm getting at is this. It looks like I added 1. I didn't add 1. I really added 1 times 4. Really added 4. So you know what I'd put out here? No, not plus 4. You have to do the opposite. The opposite. It's like if I add 4 and then I subtract 4, they cancel out and you're back where you started. Okay? So, here's what we're going to do. Are we ready to complete the square on this one? No. It's got to be x squared, and it's not x squared. It's a negative x squared. Now, here's the deal. Could we factor the negative out of each of these? Sure we could. We definitely could. All we care about, though, are just the first two. That's all we care about. Don't look at that negative. It's there. But don't even look at it. So factor out the negative. So negative times x squared, negative times plus 4x, leave a space, then put the minus 8. All we do is factor the negative out of the first two terms. Don't worry about the last one. Again, you could. We don't care. We don't have to worry about that, okay? What are we gonna put in next to this 4x? Not 8. 4. Where'd 4 come from? Half of 4 is 2. Squared is 4. So I'm going to put plus 4. Now, did I really add 4? No. I really did what? I added negative 4. There's a negative out here. That's really a negative 4. So what do I got to put over here? Positive 4. If I have this is really a negative 4, I can put a positive 4 here. So what I want to make sure you understand here is this: left side, right side. That's a negative. I put negative 4 here, and I put a positive 4 here. Okay, they cancel each other out. Now should I cancel them out? Should I cross these out now? No, because then we're back where we started. Okay, this is now a square. So we put something squared, and we always put just x. And next to it, you put half of whatever that is. What's half of plus 4? Plus 2. Then out here we're going to have negative 4. Where'd negative 4 come from? Negative 8 plus 4. You should be able to tell me the vertex now. Vertex is what? Negative 2, negative 4. And what are they asking? To graph it or just put the vertex? Oh, they just want it in that form. Okay. Let's look at number 7. Okay, so 2x squared minus 12x, 2x squared is 12x, then what? Plus 22. Okay. Should have started with number 7. I should have done 7 first and then 5. 7's a little bit easier, I think, okay? Are we ready to complete the square right now? No. Why? There's a 2 right there, okay? Now, answer this. Could I factor 2 out of all 3 terms?
Yes.
Do I want to?
No.
Just what? We don't care about the third one. We really don't care about it, okay? So put y equals 2 times x squared minus 2 times 6x. Leave a space. Then put your plus 22 out there. What's going to go in the space? Shoot, it's on the board. 9. Where'd 9 come from? Half of 6 is 3. Squared is 9. We put a plus 9. Now, this is all on the right-hand side. Left side, right side, okay? I wrote plus 9 here on the right side. Am I going to put a minus 9 over here? I'm not going to put a minus 9. I'll put a minus what? That's not a 9. It's a 9 times 2. It's an 18. It's a positive 18, so we put a minus 18 on that side. We have a positive 18 on the right. We have a negative 18 on the right. They would cancel out, but we're not going to cancel them out. So 2. This is something squared now. X, you always put an x, and what comes after the x? Half that. What's half minus 6? Minus 3. And what's outside here? Plus 4. 22 and negative 18. So what's that?
Why is it 4?
Positive 22 and negative 18. We just put them together. That's okay. You're on spring break mode still. You're still back in Arizona. So the vertex is 3, 4. Does this parabola open up or open down? Why?
It's positive.
What's positive?
In front of the parentheses.
What are you looking at specifically? Say it.
The 2.
The 2. What does that 2 do to it? It not only opens up, it also does, stretches it, makes it a little bit thinner. Okay. Number 9. Okay, so we have y equals negative 3x minus 6x. 3x squared minus 6x minus 5. Okay. I mean, the good news is we're basically doing the same problem over and over and over. Are we ready to complete the square right now?
No.
I'm looking for a very simple, profound response. Hopefully I'll get it from you guys, okay? It's a real simple response, not even a math response here, okay? So, what are we going to do?
Factor the 3.
Huh?
Factor the 3.
The 3? Careful.
Negative.
Negative. But negative 3 doesn't go into 5.
You're only doing the first 2.
I was looking for somebody to say so, okay? No, seriously, so? Does it matter that negative 3 doesn't go to negative 5?
No.
We don't care about that last one, okay? So factor out the negative 3. Negative 3 times x squared. Negative 3 times positive 2x, leave a space, put minus 5 at the end. What goes in the space?
1.
Where'd 1 come from?
After 2.
Half of 2 is 1.
1 squared.
1 squared is 1. I'm going to put a plus 1 there. Did I really add 1?
No.
I really what? It's really a negative 3. So what goes over here?
Plus 3.
Positive 3. So y equals negative 3, parentheses. What goes in the parentheses? X plus 1. What's outside the parentheses? Negative 2. What's the vertex?
Negative 1. Negative 3.
This probably will open up or open down?
No.
Why?
Because of negative 3.
Because the negative 3. And then that 3 also does what else? It makes it go down and it also stretches it, thins it up a little bit. Okay. Cross out number 11 and 12. I'm not going to make you do these fractions. Do not do 11 or 12. Okay. Number 13. I really don't like these instructions. The instructions say use the quadratic formula to find the zeros of f. I suggest this. If you guys remember when I taught quadratic formula is nice because it always works. But what's not so nice about it? It takes forever, okay? I mean, if I give you this right here, and I said use the quadratic formula to find the zeros, I would not use the quadratic formula to find the zeros there. I mean, are any numbers popping in your head when you see 25 and 10?
5 and 5.
What's so special about 5 and 5?
Times
Times 25, add to 10. Now be careful, are the zeros 5 and 5 then?
No.
They're what and what?
Negative 5.
Negative 5 and negative 5. I mean, did you use a quadratic formula? You shouldn't use. Could you use a quadratic formula? Yeah, I wouldn't though. If you can find this, if you can factor it pretty quickly, factor it. Okay. Now, if it's really tough to, now if I give you something like this. Okay. Do you guys know the zeros of that thing? I have no idea. I have no idea. Would you want to try and factor that? I would never want to factor that thing. And here's why. How do you multiply and make 24x squared? How do you multiply and make 24? 6 and 4? 12 and 2? 24 and 1? 3 and 8? Which one is it? I have no idea. There's a bunch of it. Now, if this was a 23, I would try and factor it. Because how do you make 23? There's only one way. That either factors very, very quickly or doesn't factor at all. Okay? So, if you can factor it quickly, just factor it. Okay? Quadratic formula always works, but it always takes a while. Is this one going to be an easy one or a tough one to factor? Very easy. How can you factor this? There's only one thing to do. Take out an x. X times x minus 4. Okay? What are the zeros? What makes this 0? What makes this 0? Okay, the zeros are 0 and 4. Okay? All right. Now these are a little bit longer. Okay, we found the zeros. We're gonna do part C next. Okay. we're going to sketch it. This is part A. Let's sketch a graph here. The zeros are 0 and 4. So it's 0, 4. I don't know if I've ever taught you this. It's not a very difficult concept, okay? Listen carefully though. I'm not sure exactly what the vertex is, but I know the vertex is 2 something. Any idea how I know it's 2 something?
Half of 4.
2 and then square.
No, he's on the right track. But I'll tell you what. If the zeros were -1 and 5, the vertex would be 2 something again. Why? Any idea? Where am I getting 2 from?
5 minus the middle.
Smack dab in the middle of the zeros. What's halfway between -5 and 1? 2. It's 2 away. It's 1, 2, 3 away this way. 1, 2, 3 away that way. Okay. The vertex. So if I give you this, if I said our x-intercepts or our zeros were 10 and 14, what would our vertex be? What would be the x value of the vertex?
12.
12. It'd be 12 something. Okay. It's always smack dab in the middle of the 2 intercepts. Okay. So it's 2 something. Now, to what? Okay, there's no shortcut on this. Not that it's going to take that long. But any idea how we're going to find the y value? There's really only one way. Plug in what?
2
Where?
for x.
It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to plug it in right here. Let's plug it in right here. 2 squared is 4 minus 4 times, what do we plug in again? 4 times 2 is 8. -4. So the vertex is 2, -4. So 2, -4. That's our vertex. Does it make, now what if you did this? What if you had, you got to look at everything here. What if you accidentally did this one? What if you said it was 2 +4? Put a couple question marks there. You think that's going to look right if it was 2 +4? Look way back here at the beginning.
No.
Why? If this was correct, this parabola has to open what? It's got to hit all 3 of these spots. Parabola's got to open how? Well, don't look up here. It would have to open down. It has to go like this. Is that okay?
No.
It's got to open up, so it's got to be down here. Okay? It's got to open up. Okay? Now, I want you guys to write this because I don't do a good enough job of making students learn this each year. Okay? I want 2 more things. For part B, I want to know where is the maximum or minimum, and I want to know what is the maximum minimum. Okay? Maximum or minimum. Where? Oh, that was terrible. Where is, in this case, the minimum? The minimum is at x equals 2. That's where it is. Now, what is the minimum? Where is the x value? What is the y value? What is the minimum? What is the lowest it got to? -4. What is the minimum? Not x. You understand what I'm saying? At these points, the y value is 0, okay? That's what the zeros are, or y is 0, okay? So at x equals 2, think of it as this way. Think of it as January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, January 4th. So on January 2nd, there was a low temperature of 4 below 0. I don't know if that helps or not, okay? Why didn't we find the maximum values? Why?
It goes on.
Better than on, different word. Better word than on. Goes what forever? Huh? Up. Goes up forever. Okay, 15. Jeez. Cross out 15 and 16. That's not an easy one to factor. I don't even know if it does factor. Okay, number 17. Y equals 9x squared plus 24x plus 16. I think this one factors easily. Yes, it does. This doesn't factor bad. This isn't bad at all. Okay? All right. Anything going to 9, 24, and 16 besides 1?
No.
No. Okay, can I take an x out? No. So how do you want to make 9x squared? 3x and 3x, or what's another possibility? What's the easiest way to times to get 9? 1 times 9. What do you want to try first? 3x and 3x. Then what do we look at? The 24x or the 16? Last. Now, how do you make a positive? Plus plus or minus minus, which is it? It's got to be, there's no negatives. Now, I've said this many times, just want to make sure you haven't forgotten it. You must still not be on spring break mode. Times the 16, but add to that, it doesn't work on this because of that 9. That only works if that's a 1. So how do you times to make 16? There's 3 ways. 8 and 2 or 4 and 4 or 1 and 16. What do you want to try first?
4 and 4.
4 and 4. We check it by doing our outers and our inners. My outers, 4 times 3 is 12x. My inners is also 12x. 12x and 12x is 24x. So it factored okay. So, what makes that 0? Okay, I'm not going to get, this is me yelling at you. You got to pay attention to this, guys, okay? This is ones that you got to be able to knock these out of the park, especially if you're going to take the SAT tomorrow. I guarantee you tomorrow there's going to be a question like this. Put this on hold. If I give you this right here, 7x plus 11, 8x minus 3, 9x plus 4. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's on the SAT tomorrow. That question should take you all of about 3 seconds. The answers to this are negative 11 sevenths, positive 3 eighths, and negative 4 ninths. How do I get that? Where'd negative 11 come from?
The
Opposite over this. Opposite over this. You got, that's going to be on the top. I guarantee you there's going to be a question where it's going to be exactly that, but that's going to pop up. So what makes this 0? What makes that 0? Same thing. Okay? So, see if you guys can figure this out. I've never told you this. That only touches the x-axis at one spot. At one spot. So what does that tell you about that? If it touches the x-axis at one spot, any idea what the heck this parabola? It's a parabola. At negative 4/3, that's negative 1 1/3. It touches right there.
Is the y on? I mean, the y is 0.
The y value is 0, yeah.
So is it just a point?
So if there's only one x-intercept, what could you say about that x-intercept?
line.
It's not a line. No, it's still a parabola. It's still a parabola.
It's just a dot.
It's not just, it's more than just a dot. It's,
A point on the parabola?
what point?
The end point?
What do you mean the end point? You said it goes on forever.
Yeah.
You're close. Well, there's
On the point, the thing that's
one word, and it's, well, there's a letter on the word on there that represents it. It's not just, it's what?
the vertex.
It's got to be the vertex. It's got to be the vertex, okay? Now, is that opening up or is it opening down?
I don't know. Well,
It's positive, so it's got to go. If it's not the vertex, if it's not, it's got to touch that point. It's got to touch that point. If it wasn't the vertex, it would have to gone through, and it's a parabola. And what's wrong with that? What's going to happen if it's a parabola? Eventually, it's going to have to do what? Go back up. And what's wrong with that? That's your second x-intercept, and there isn't one. There's only one x-intercept. So any parabola that has one x-intercept, that's the vertex also. It has to be the vertex. Okay? So, that's part A. This is part C. For part B. Where is the, are we finding the maximum or the minimum? What are we finding, the max or the min? Not the max. What is the maximum?
negative.
No, what's the maximum? What's the highest this goes to? It goes up forever. Okay, there is no maximum. And when you say it's infinity, we could argue that. That's up for debate. I mean, because infinities isn't even a number. It goes up forever. So we're finding the minimum. Where is the minimum at?
Negative 4/3.
X is negative 4/3. And what is that minimum value? What's the lowest it got to? 0. Got all the way down to 0. It hit 0, then turn back around. Okay, 17. Let's see, number 19 will be a quick one. 19, 21. Let's try at most 4 more. Definitely 2, maybe 4, we'll see. Number 19. Okay, y equals x squared plus 4x plus 9. Okay? You guys want to factor this? Okay, I tell you what. Factor it in your head. Very good, you're right.
No, I'm bad.
Okay, you're up then. Give me two numbers that times to 9
3 and 3.
or
1, 9 and 1.
that add to 4.
You can't.
1 and 3.
No. Listen to what you said. How do you times to 9?
3 and 3.
Or?
1 and 9.
Those are only two options, 3 and 3, and 1 and 9. Which of those adds up to 4?
Neither.
Neither one. So you said you can't factor. You're right, you can't factor this. Nobody can. Okay? I know what you meant though. That you struggle with factoring, but you can't factor that, okay? We're not going to do what they told us to on this, okay? We're just going to graph this, and we're not going to find the x-intercepts. I mean, the x-intercepts are not going to be very nice, okay? So here's what we're going to do, okay? Let's find the vertex, okay? So I'll give you a clue. Y equals x squared plus 4x plus 9. We've already done this today. What am I going to put in that space?
2 squared 4.
What'd you say? Where'd 4 come from? Half of 4 is 2, squared is 4. I added 4. And did I add 4? I mean, before I said I added it, but it really did I really add 4?
Yes.
Yes, I did. So what do I put over here?
Plus 4.
Minus 4. No, don't do the same thing. Do the opposite thing at the same side. So this is now a square. It's what squared?
X plus 4.
X plus
No,
what?
X plus 2.
What's out here?
5.
Plus 5. Okay. What's the vertex?
-2. Yep.
Negative 2, 5. So back to who? Right here. And how's this parabola opening? Up or down? Up. Oh. Tell you what, this might be helpful for the SAT tomorrow. What are the real zeros? As a clue, I just said that. I'll say it again. I'll say exactly how I said it. I said, what are the real zeros? There are no real zeros. Why?
Because it doesn't touch.
It never touches the x-axis. How many total zeros does this thing got? 2. None of them are real. So that means there has to be what? 2 that are imaginary. There's 2 imaginary solutions. Okay? So, that was part A, part C. For part B, where, again, are we finding the max or the min? The minimum. Where is the minimum at? X is -2. What is the minimum value? Is it 0 this time? No, the lowest it got to was what?
5.
5. The lowest it got to was 5. Everything else was above 5. Okay. 21. Probably 2 more. Probably 2 more. 21. So y equals -2x squared plus 20x minus 43. Okay? All right, so I'm not going to try to factor this thing. I don't even know if it does factor. Okay? So let's complete the square. Ready to complete the square right now? We're ready to take half of 20 and then square it or not? No, why? Starts up, so what should I do? What do I do then if it starts off with a -2? Factor what? -2 doesn't go into that.
Back to the 42.
Nobody said so. I even told it to you last time, and you still didn't say it. I gave you another chance. I teed it up for you, and you whiffed. Okay, so -2 times what? X squared. -2 times -10x, leave a space, then put minus 43. What goes in the space? Positive 25. Okay, it looks like I added 25. Yes, sir. Yeah. Did I really add 25?
No.
I really what? I really subtracted 50. So what do I put over here? Add 50. So y equals -2 times what squared? X minus 5, and over here plus 7. What's the vertex? 5, 7. Is this parabola open up or open down? Down. How come? It's a negative. Now, what are the x-intercepts? I really don't care. Okay. I just wanted a rough graph. Okay. I'm just curious, though. I do want you to know this. The vertex is 5, 7. Is a possibility of the x-intercepts, could they possibly be 0, 0 and 10? Is that a possibility, 0 and 10? Why? Yes, they could be. They could be 0 and 10. They definitely could. Why?
5's in the middle.
5 smack dab in the middle. Could it possibly be 3 and 7? Yeah, because 5's in the middle of 3 and 7. Could it possibly be 1 and 12? Because 5's in between them,
But not in the
but not smack dab in the middle. It's got to be right in the middle of them, okay? So I don't know what the vertex is, or what the intercepts are. I don't really care though. Okay? So that was part A. For part C, or oh, wait, A was. Oh, which was which part?
C is the graph.
C is the. Oh, well, yeah. C was the graph. Yep.
And then B is the.
B is what is the maximum min? Okay. We're finding the max or the min this time? The maximum. We what's the low point?
We don't know.
Well, we kind of. Well, I wouldn't say we don't know.
Everything that goes down.
Yeah, there is no low point because it goes down forever. There is no low point. Okay, but there is a high point. The high point is what? Where is the high point? At x equals 5. What is that value? Huh? What was the value at 5? 7. The highest it ever gets to is 7. Okay, last one for today, 23. Yep. Okay, so 23. All right, so they don't tell you this, but they kind of do. I just want to make sure you understand. Do they tell you the vertex number 23?
Yeah.
Yes, because what do you're assuming it's what?
4 negative.
Why do you really think that's the vertex?
It's in the middle.
It looks like it's the middle, but what's another tip off that? It's probably the vertex.
Has a V.
It's labeled V. It's labeled V. If it wasn't labeled V, they should really tell you that though, okay? So the vertex is 4, negative 1. So we need an equation. They give you one other point, and that's important because I want to make sure you understand 4, negative 1. This point right here, they give you this parabola, okay? Does this parabola also have a vertex of 4, negative 1?
Yeah.
How about this one? Do those all have the same equation, do you think? No, they all have the same vertex, but they definitely have different equations. So here's what we put. Y equals, then parentheses, x what? If our vertex is 4, negative 1, we're going to put x what? X minus 4, then what? Good, I'm so glad you said that. Be careful. I'm sure you probably wrote it, Cassie, but you forgot something. Squared. Did you put the square? Oh, you didn't. Okay, oh good. Yeah, because right now that's not a parabola. What is that if I graph it? Well, they're both to the first power, so it's not a parabola. Yikes. Y equals mx plus b?
Yeah.
A line, okay. Now it's a parabola, okay? Now I want to make sure you understand. The vertex here is 4, negative 1. What if I put a 7 right here? Is the vertex still 4, negative 1?
Yeah.
What if it's negative 7?
Still.
Now I'm just curious, and you got to look at your picture. Is this a possibility that that number in front of there is negative 7? You got to look at the picture. Could it possibly be negative 7?
No.
There's no way it could be negative 7. Why?
It's opening up.
Could it possibly be 7?
Yeah.
Okay, it's got to be positive something. Somebody say it. Positive what?
Oh,
Who said that? You don't know?
I said it.
I said I don't know.
That's what I was looking for. I don't know what it is. Positive something. So we're going to put A here. We're just going to put A. We're going to put something, okay? But we're not done. Now, we have more information, though, that we haven't used yet. What else haven't we used yet? 0, 1, the other point. 0, 1. So use it. What are we going to do with 0? What are we going to do with 1? 0 is the x value. 1 is the y value. So tell me what to write.
Plug it in.
So we put what?
1.
1 equals, what do we plug in for a?
Nothing.
That's what we're trying to find out. We know a is positive something. What's x? 0 minus 4 squared minus 1. Okay, 0 minus 4 is negative 4. I'm going to show all my steps. You don't necessarily have to. Negative 4 squared, negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. So a times 16 minus 1. Add 1 to each side. 2 is a times 16. Last thing we do is divide by 16. And 2 16ths, be careful, don't be in a big hurry and say, oh, the answer's 8. No, it's not. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 2 16th is 1/8. We're almost done. We got one last thing to do.
Plug it back in.
Plug it in. Does it make sense that it's positive 1/8? Why? Because it opens up. It better be positive something. Okay? All right. So what I want you to understand is there's an infinite number of parabolas that have a vertex of 4, negative 1. There's only one parabola that has a vertex of 4, negative 1 that also what?
Has a
Goes through the point
0, 1.
0, 1. Okay? All right, we're done for today. I think this stuff will actually help you guys on without